Welcome to the Inevitable Gym, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to part 3 of the LTD Wagon. If you haven't had a chance yet to watch parts 1 and 2, please bop down to the description. There's links to parts 1 and 2, and you can check those out, get all up to speed. Well, hello and welcome back to the Inevitable Gym. It is once again Hershey time. That's right, the 1978 Ford LTD Station Wagon. Now, where we left it off, it was we had it running, and got it started, had it running, albeit with no accessories on the front, no cooling system in it. Just had it running for a few seconds to make sure everything was good and fix a few vacuum leaks, get it running on all 8 cylinders, so on and so forth. So what I've been doing in the meantime, it's been about a week or so. We had to run up the Iola car show last week, so you've probably already seen that video. Anyway, so I've already got the accessories put on, and I started putting the radiator and the cooling system and everything together. Pretty basic stuff, didn't film any of that. However, we ran into a problem with the replacement. I bought a replacement aluminum radiator, it's a little too narrow, okay? So the original radiator, although it wasn't leaking, it's pretty bad. It's a little rough. I'm surprised it's not leaking. So I had to pop that back in here just to run the car and get some miles and such on. Hopefully it'll hold together for a little while till I can get the proper radiator, get that returned, get the right one. So we're gonna jump back in here, fill it up with some coolant, get it running and actually let it warm up. The idea is to let it warm up, get the temperature, and make sure everything's, good. And then move on to other things underneath the vehicle. So let's bring you up in here and kind of show you what we've done. So as you can see, we have the alternator and water pump pulleys, power steering and such on here. I basically just dressed up the front of the engine and ended up having to put the original radiator in like I mentioned. Got the top plate on it here, shroud and everything. I have not put on the AC or brackets yet. Again, want to make sure everything's really good before we start piling everything back on here. So what do you say we fill it up with some water and fire it back up? I don't hear any drips on the floor. Now the biggest thing for checking leaks is when you're filling it, try not to spill when you fill. So far I'm doing so good, but of course I've probably just jinxed myself, so we'll see how that goes. Well, it's coming up to the top here. It still has to fill the whole engine block up. The entire engine block and everything was empty, of course, so we'll let it burp and burble and do its thing. I'd like to get the rest of this gallon in so then it can settle. And that'd be 2 gallons. Now I know it's going to take more than that, but at least it could get that going down in it. Alrighty, let's fire it up. Doors open, let it come out. Gotta get outside, it was getting a little gassy in the shop. Check transmission for too. Gotta get a quart for that. Well, it's got a burp, I guess. Well, it's running pretty good. The idle's still a little ratty, but I just looked down the carburetor and it's dribbling a little bit past the Venturi, so we got a needle and seat, ain't quite sealing up. So I'm going to take the top off and check that needle and seat again. I've got a new needle and seat. We'll probably change that out, but it's not too awful bad. It runs and drives. The transmission needed another quart. We've got the cooling system full. I shut it off and it belched a little bit, but yeah, overall the engine sounds real good. Oil pressure, oh my gosh, hot idle, 54 pounds of oil pressure. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and move it out. We're going to get it back up on the wildfire lift. I got to top off that differential yet, and then we can start on the underside. Not going to do much. It isn't going to do much good to start tuning anything and adjusting a whole lot without some exhaust on it. Without a little back pressure, you're getting all kinds of scavenging past the valves, and it's one of those things that you tune it now and then you put exhaust on, you have to tune it again. So it's running good enough now to get exhaust on it, and I think we're going to build our own system. More on that later. But I got to go in there and check that needle and see it anyway, see why it's spitting over just a little bit of gas. But other than that, I'm real happy. Doesn't seem to be leaking anything, hasn't overheated. So yeah, I'm going to start it one more time. I want to check, see if it's charging. I hadn't done that yet. And then yeah, we'll get it moved and back up on the wildfire lift. All right, I just got done filling up the rear differential because it had no gear oil, as we know. And taking a look underneath here, there was a slight leak up here on this transmission cooler line, so I tightened up that fitting. But checking underneath here, looking great, no leaks. The floor is completely dry under it, so that's all good news. All right, now we're moving on to the fuel tank here. And I've got, so it's kind of puzzling me because it's obviously leaking here, or has leaked. But it's real clean metal. I mean, it's some surface rust there, but I want to see what kind of hole we got here. It's almost got to be like a pinhole or something. This is really goopy here. Like it has leaked, or, you know, and it could be a pinhole from the inside. Who knows, but it seems to be right there. So yeah, let's get this cleaned off just a little bit. See what we got. Be right back. Okay, now I got it cleaned off, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it really close. I'm gonna try to zoom in a little more here. You can see that as I'm wiping it off, it's bone dry, but then it starts to get wet again. So it is seeping out of a couple pinholes right there. So I think the best thing to probably do is try to poke that hole bigger, get my drain pan over here. Let's drain everything that's possibly in this. And then I've got a patch kit from JB Weld specifically for gas tanks. So I'm gonna get this drained. Well, if you've ever heard the phrase, it's gotta get worse before it gets better, well, that's what we got going on here. So we'll let this drain all the old fuel out. And boy, I wish we had smell-o-vision. Whew, it stinks. Maybe he didn't change the tank, but somebody has. Maybe Joe did, but somebody's changed the tank. Anyway, we'll let this drain and be back when it's empty. All right, so got my JB Weld tank fix epoxy ready. Wipe this off. I roughed it up with some sandpaper. And this epoxy, when you mix it up, gets kind of warm. The chemical reaction and such. Spread that all around. Whew. I got me a genuine, bona fide mess here. I pretty much got it all in my hands, so we're gonna go with the finger method. Fiberglass matting. You're to place that over here, like so. And then you're supposed to put the rest of this on that. I have a mess on my hands. Literally. Never used this before, but it was recommended. Couldn't hurt to give it a whirl, you know what I mean? Well, I guess there we have it. I gotta get this crap off my hands. All right, now we've let this epoxy set up, and I'm here to tell you it's pretty stout stuff. So I think the next thing we need to do is we need to put a little fuel in this tank, let it sit, and see if it holds. All right, I'm going to put just about a gallon in here because it's right at the bottom, so that should be all we need to put in it. Let it sit for a couple days, make sure it isn't going to leak at all on us. Make sure our repair is going to hold. Trying not to spill, but I still spilled a little bit. Oh well. Alrighty. Let's hope for the best. Alright, one of the things I've been wanting to do is get this thing up in the air on stands so we can get these tires changed out. So we got the Wildfire lift here. It's raised up. Alright, get some stands under here. Let's get the front of the car raised up now. Get that set down on the lock. All right, got the pressure off it. Now we can get some tires off. Some people say, oh, get rid of the hubcaps, put rims on everything. And you know, I'm one of those guys, I like the look of dog dish hubcaps and original hubcaps. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know. To me, it's just makes the car. I don't know. Got trim rings on the other side, missing the trim rings on this side. Maybe I can come up with a couple, but irregardless, it needs new tires. We know that. So we're gonna get these wheels and tires off, and I got new rubber to mount up at the shop tomorrow so that we can get it look a little more like a car instead of a truck. The wheel studs are in excellent shape, no rust. That's kind of a nice, pleasant surprise. Alrighty. Time to get rid of the all-terrain truck tires. I got some nice passenger car style tires ready to go on old Hershey here. Nothing wrong with these though. We'll keep them around for another project. Alright. Moving right along. Get our first look at the rear brakes here. Now that we got the wheels and tires off, we obviously have lots of cobwebs and such from sitting, but something else I love about non-rust belt cars is these drums. You can tell there's no rust ridge, there's no rust on the studs. These should slide right off. So, yep, just like I expected. And holy smokes, it's all brand new back here. I mean, it's dirty, but it's in excellent shape. No ridge on the drums. These shoes are in pretty good shape. We might be able to clean these up and reuse them as is. Wow. Well, come on in here, have a look. You can see there that the springs have been replaced. The wheel cylinder isn't even that old. It's not rusted. All this hardware is new. Yeah, it just needs cleaned off. I mean, it's old age-wise, but not a lot of miles on this. Like to see that. Let's clean these up and get them rinsed off. Let's see what we got. All right, we'll let that dry off and see what we got. Yeah, I can't complain about that at all. Excellent. I think we're gonna run these. Looking good so far. Let's check the other side. Well, on this side here, it's like the old saying goes, same song, second verse. Now this looks like it has a little bit of a slight residue of some axle grease, rear end grease. Yeah, slightly smells like it. Of course, it's been 25 years or so, or 20 years. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on this axle seal now that we have fluid in the rear end, and make sure that it isn't gonna come back to bite us. Have to put an axle seal in it. However, the linings look great. The drums look great. So let's clean this side off and see what we get as well. Ooh, that's a spicy can. Doesn't look too bad. Honestly, this side might have, well, it has obviously had some axle seal seepage, but there again, we don't know if that got repaired when all this rear end work was supposedly done. So honestly, we'll go ahead and run it, and if it leaks, we'll change it then. They aren't that hard to change. So awesome, good news. On better news, look at these drums. No grooves, no huge ridge. Look at that drum. The other one looks just as good. Awesome stuff. Something else I love about non-rust belt cars. Look at this frame. Now it looks like it's got rust scale, but that's actually just the undercoating, such. But this frame, rock solid. Man, I love it. And this is another reason why we can tell this fuel tank's been changed, because none of this factory undercoating is sprayed onto any of these components, the filler tube and everything. This has all been changed, so that's how I know this tank has been changed at least once. So far, so good. I'm going to go ahead and get these wheels and tires loaded up, take them to the shop tomorrow, get them changed out. It is hot here. It has been unseasonably and unbearably hot. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to call it done for today out here in the shop. We'll be back tomorrow and keep moving along. Well, we got the one side gravity bled. Let's see if we can get this side to gravity bleed as well. Are we feeling lucky with that bleeder screw? About to find out. The other one popped loose without too much trouble. Oh yeah, not bad at all. Now the other one was plugged up with a bunch of crud, so I suppose I better pull this one all the way out too, and make sure it's not plugged with a bunch of crud as well. There we go. Got it blown out. And then we'll put it back in and see if she's gonna bleed for us. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Gravity bleeding already. We'll let it drip for just a moment or two. Make sure we get all the air out. Yes, yes. So if we got this side bled and the other side bled, yep, see there's some air right there wanting to come out. All right, we'll get this bled out and then we'll be back. All right, we got both sides bled, and so I think it's time to put the drums back on. And check this out. I know I showed you in the other angle, but God, look at these drums, man. They are in great condition. So we're gonna put these right back on. And they felt pretty close in adjustment. Now we can tighten that up just a skosh. Bring that adjuster out just a tickle. Oh, there we go. Nice slight drag. Excellent. Let's go ahead and I'm going to pop the other drum on and then take a look at the front brakes. Now, as we can see here, the front brakes, I mean, we got a little bit of cobweb and stuff, but Joe had replaced the calipers and the hoses and the pads. So we're good to go on the front brakes. And these rotors, they look nice and smooth. I don't know if they got machined or what, but there is nothing wrong with these rotors. So we're going to just leave this as it is for now. The thing is, I'm not, on some of the other revivals, we fixed everything so it's ready to go. And we put a few miles on it and then we pass it on. Like I said, I'm getting this one ready for Duct Tape Drags. So I'm just kind of wanting to get it running and driving mostly safely and then start working the bugs and making a list of further repairs I want to do and further maintenance items I want to do. I want to get some miles on the engine, make sure we don't have leaks, make sure the transmission shifted good, so on and so forth. I really want to drive this. I'd like to drive it tonight if we can. Yeah, both brakes look the same on the front, so we're going to leave these the way they are. Now, one of the things after putting the engine and transmission in, we still have the inspection cover off here to get to the flex plate nuts. for the torque converter. And I've done that because there's one that was kind of chewed up and garbled and really kind of boogered up. So I ordered some new ones, and I got to turn it around and find the one that we're missing and get that new nut on there. So as I've been turning around, there's 4. When you know it, of course, the last one, bringing it around here. There it is. All right, let's get the torque converter nut mounted on there. Quick shout out, not sponsored or anything, but ClassicTransmissionSolutions.com. If you can see that there. Found them on the Jungle website. They sent me a card. So Blake Bayshore, President, Sales and Operations. Anyway, nice company, zipped them out, reasonably priced, so shout out to them. Let's put it on. Okay, click. Go ahead and get the inspection cover reinstalled here. Whoops, wrong socket. Help you use the right size, huh? All right. One more thing checked off the list. Well, another bit of good news is our tank repair seems to be holding. There's no moisture or anything leaking out of the tank. So we need to take our fuel line from our temporary fuel line that we were running up to that little gallon can to run the engine, and hook up the fuel line coming from the back of the car to our fuel pump. Woo! Took me a shower there. Oh, I thought that was empty. Well, guess it wasn't. Okay, back at it. Yummy. Right in the old ear. Tighten up the clamp here. And stink up the whole shop with gas. It is what it is. I wonder if I should put a fuel filter in line there, just to, because we don't know for sure what's going to come out of that tank. Let me think about that. Maybe I'll put a fuel filter in line here. Yeah, the more I think about it, I think I do want to go ahead and put me a service loop with a filter in here. I just want to see what's coming out of that tank, you know? And if it's all clear and fine, then we'll take it out, because technically, no, you're not supposed to put filters in front of the pump, but you know what? We need to see what's coming out of this thing. Now, using these plastic clear filters long-term is a big no-no, but when you're trying to see what you've got, they're perfect because, well, you can see through them. So, get that put on there. We'll snug this up, and then of course we'll zip tie this up in a manner that it won't interfere with anything. And then I made the loop nice and big enough so that it won't kink anywhere. So we'll get this zip tied up here where I can keep an eye on it. Something right there might work good. I don't know. We'll see once we get the wheels and tires on, but filter loop installed. Alrighty. We have us a set of brand new Hankook Kinergy 235/75/15s. There's a very specific reason why I went with these tires. Yeah, they were the cheapest tire of manufacturer that I actually recognized. So Hankook, decent tires. So we got 4 of them. Let's get them bolted on. Now, while these lug nuts and studs are in excellent condition, I want to acknowledge one of the great supporters of the channel, lugnutguys.com. If you need any lug nuts, studs, wheels, anything that has to do with putting a wheel on a vehicle, lugnutguys.com can help you out. Jeff and the crew, great guys. Let's get her sitting down on her own paws. What do you say? Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, slide to the back. Let's get the back half. Get the bridge jack slid back here. Get these rear jack stands out. And there's the air compressor. Down scope. And just like that, she's sitting on her own haunches. Now, one thing I am fairly certain of is that that gallon I put in Hershey to check for the fuel tank and make sure that our repair wasn't going to leak, that gallon ain't going to get us down the road very far. So, probably better add a little more fuel to him. Now, normally I'm very cautious and careful about not spilling gas because, well, I don't want to smell like gas, but did you see the clip of the fuel line? I smell like a freaking refinery. So we'll get a few gallons in here and check a few more things. Hopefully get to take them for a ride tonight for a few miles. I got the hood strapped down to the roof only because I got nobody here to help me lift it off right now. And obviously we don't want to go flying, so ran a ratchet strap around that so we can just leave it right up there. Let's look, I mean, I want to look like 100% hillbilly, you know. So that should do it. Leave a gallon or so in the can, half a gallon, so I can have a little petrol around here for thises and that's. All right. I did relocate that fuel filter loop up here beside the power steering pump and out of the way, just so I could see it easier, and zip tied it to the tranny cooler lines there so it won't get caught in the fan belts or nothing. And for the test drive, I have professionally mounted the oil pressure gauge on top of the vacuum canister here with, of course, duct tape. All right, let's fire old Hershey up. Got about 65 pounds of oil pressure. Can't quite see if we're pulling from the tank. Let me get a flashlight. Yep, we're pulling fuel from the fuel tank, it looks like. There we go. All right. Now, I know he's over fueling a little bit, and we got to get to that, but I just want to take him for a little drive, see how he's doing. Let's get the garage door opened up. I still have to get into the carburetor there and see why he's dribbling a little fuel over the top there. I think I got either a little dirt in the needle and seat, or the needle and seat's just set a touch high, but let's go for a little spin. Well, I apologize, it's starting to get a little dark here. Hopefully you can see me a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna take Hershey for a little spin down the road. See how he does. We got no exhaust, so yeah, she's a little rowdy. But yeah, let's see what we got going on. Oh, the brakes are good. God, the brakes grab, excellent. Excellent, all right. So, first gear. Second gear, third gear, excellent. I'm probably gonna put the camera down because I don't know that you can see much of me. But Hershey's doing the thing. Headlights work. It looks like the gas gauge actually works. I got a couple dash lights out. I can see the speedometer, but only on one side there. Pulling nice and even on all 8 cylinders. Still overfueling a little bit at idle, but let's get Hershey up to highway speed for the first time. What do you say? Real tall this year. I don't know how well this is going to pick up me talking. This is the first time I've used the mic with wide open exhaust, but hey. Beautiful, beautiful sky this evening. All right, let's get them wound up a little bit here. There's 60 miles an hour and got it, right? Nice and smooth. I can tell it needs new shocks, and I've got those. A little choppy on the ride, but not super bouncy. But yeah, Hershey's doing the thing. So I'm gonna finish up this ride. I'm gonna try to put about 5 miles on them, and we'll see you back at the stop. So you remember how I said that I had to put the original radiator in because the aluminum one didn't fit, so I thought it'd be good enough to drive a little bit. Well, that answers that. I did make it the 5 miles. It ran good, but as soon as I got close to home here, I saw a mist hitting the windshield, and I thought, uh-oh, we sprung a coolant leak. I'll have to, it looks like it's shooting right out the grill here, so I'm sure we got a pinhole in the radiator or something. The correct radiator did show up today, but yeah, let me get a flashlight, see what we got. Well, it's really kind of hard to see, but because we have the AC condenser is in front of the radiator, but it is shooting out right between the radiator, I don't know if you can see that, and the AC condenser straight out front, somewhere down there, and we're gonna let her cool off, and then we'll be able to take a look. But like I said, I did get the correct radiator in today, so we can make that switch. I was just hoping it'd hold together for a little longer, but oh well. Engine sounded great. That's the good thing. You know, temperature-wise, I mean, it's up to temperature, but this hose isn't overly hot or swollen, so it's not like it's an overheating situation. I don't have the temp gauge hooked up to it yet. I have the temp light, and it never came on, so I'm not worried about the temperature of the engine. It's just, yeah, this radiator couldn't handle the pressure. Well, that's going to wrap it up for the LTD on this episode. We've got some stuff coming up. We got the brand new radiator right over there. So we're going to get the radiator swapped out. We are going to build an exhaust system. Yes, I have an entire mandrel bent pipe kit over here, ordered off Amazon. It's got all the different bends and straight pipes. I've never built an exhaust system from pieces like that. Kind of excited to give it a try. Got a pair of turbo mufflers that I got a smoking deal on at the Iola car show. We're going to use those on Hershey and try to build our own exhaust system. From there, we get into the fun stuff. That's right. We're going to start working on the cosmetics. We're going to take this beautiful wagon and make it look as good as it possibly can. Got to put in a few accessories, got those gauges and such. But on the next episode, it should be the final episode before I start really putting some miles and shaking this car down. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. You get to see what we're working on. Show me what you're working on. I really do enjoy getting the emails from everybody. You can email me at theinevitablejim@gmail.com. And if you would like some of the merch, hats, stickers, all of that stuff, that's at theinevitablejim.com right up there. If you'd like to send something to us, our shipping address is down in the description. If it's something you think we would enjoy or something's pertinent to one of our builds or something you'd just like to share with me, you can ship it right there. I do read each and every email, and I do read each and every comment that you guys leave. So leave a comment, shoot me an email. I do read them all. Also hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course leave a comment. Do appreciate that. As always, go out in your garage, take some time, work on your ride, and have some fun.